Good evening and welcome to the Angry Cast. I'm going to apologize now because I'm going to be all over the place talking about 3 different topics, all in one semi-related subject. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I was having a conversation the other day with some coworkers, and we were talking about these things that we have. They're called, it's an award system that we get for doing a good job. It's like an attaboy for, doing something. And all the managers have points that they can give out to their direct reports or anybody else in IT. And we can use those points to get, we can turn them in for swag, the company's branded merchandise. We can use it to get like Amazon cards, retailer cards, the bank, or like a credit card, like Visa or MasterCard, whatever, like you would give to somebody that, has a fee for using or whatever. And I think, and each manager only gets so many per quarter, so it's not like they can just say, hey, here you go, here's 100 points. They have to, they try to space them out, and then every quarter they refill. And I thought about this, and I'm like, wait a second. I don't want to, what am I going to use these for? Okay? When my last job, I got a bunch of the same kind of a thing, and I used them because I was going to lose them because I was leaving that position. So I cashed them out at the end of my work tenure, and got like a pair of cheap earbuds that broke immediately, but they still kind of work, but I figured out a better way to use it at my desk. It was just something to have that I could, I didn't care if it broke. I got it for free. What do I care? But I thought about this even longer, and it dawned on me I had 2 ideas in my head. One was I can totally use this to get a free thing that I want, and 2, I'll never be able to pay for it in any other lifetime, and I won't really have time to use it anyway, so what's the point? Okay? Now, again, and on top of all that, when we redeem these points, we get dinged for taxes on them as well, for which kind of sucks, but okay, whatever. We'll play your game. I'll pay the taxes on a high ticket, high purchase item, whatever. I'm getting it for free, technically. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, okay, fine. Let's maybe play this out. Maybe work my ass off for the next, year, and I will have enough points to turn in for a PlayStation 5. Because why not? The thing is, by then maybe they'll actually be in stock and you could buy one. You could get one. But again, it's like what, $549 or whatever right now for one. Maybe up to $1,000 depending on what type of hard drive you get in it. I have no idea. I'm so out of touch with the way these things work. Could be, could not be. Who knows? But again, I'm going to get dinged for the taxes on it, and I have 100 points right now. And now we've only put the system in for about 4 months at this point. 100 points in 4 months. All right, so fine. Another 450, 400, okay, let's say another 600 points. Another 500 points. That's, by next year I should be okay. 3 quarters, 4 quarters, whatever. Now, I told you that story to tell you this one. Back in the early days of the PlayStation 3, they were what? $299, $399, and I did not have the money for one, but I wanted to get one. I found this thing called myfreeps3.com or something like that. It was some weird website under TRAINN, train.org. And basically what it was a way for you to get a free PlayStation, a free Wii, a free Xbox, money, iPhones, anything like that. How that worked was that you signed up for the service and you completed an offer. That offer could be anything, whether you picked up a Stamps.com subscription for a month. Maybe you spent $10 or whatever on it. Or you could go to another Pets.com. There was basically retailers that had these promos that lasted for a month or whatever, and you had to fulfill the terms of service in order to count as a checkbox. And you had to get 10 of these offers completed. Now, you could only complete one on your own. You had to get other people to do it. It was basically an MLM, like an Amway scam. You do one, and then you get 10 friends to do it as well, and then you get the free PlayStation. Then there were entire boards, message boards, devoted to people who were trying to get other people to do offers for them. Okay? You were basically... it's just, looking back now, it's kind of surreal how that all worked out. But you would, beg people to go in and do an offer under your thing and hope that they didn't, do 15 others and void anything. You can only do one time. And that was the whole idea. They wanted to get new subscribers, not the same person over and over and over again. One person had to complete an offer for you. They could not complete an offer for anybody else. And then they had to go get more people if they wanted to be involved. So then people started selling. They started selling the work. I will complete an offer for you. I will go sign up for stamps.com for a month and complete the offer, and then you pay me. Sometimes it was for the same amount that it would cost them if they would have actually completed the offer. Sometimes it was more than what the completed offer would have cost. People were ended up spending a lot of money for a little value. And then, on top of everything else, on top of all of that, it became a situation where people would scam you, and you would pay them money through PayPal, and then they wouldn't even do the thing to begin with. So now you were getting robbed left and right and center while still not getting that PlayStation that you wanted. And I know that because I'm one of those people. And back in those days, PayPal had an even better fraud, or whatever that thing is that gets you. I'm not going to pay for this. I want to. Dispute resolution was a hell of a lot better back then in the mid 2000s than it is today. So we had this entire thing. I would spend lunch hours on these boards, going through and saying, okay, who wants to do this? Who wants to do this? And it would just end up either being it would either work out or not. After about 6 months, I managed to get enough signups to get the PlayStation, and it ended up costing me about $100 from paying people out to do it. I got the last 5 signups. I think it cost me $20 each in order to get the full amount of signups in order to get the PlayStation. So for $100, I had enough to get it. Now, that's still a better deal than $399, right? And then my mom comes to me one day before Christmas and says, "Oh boy, what do you want for Christmas?" No, she didn't say it like that, but I'm putting on a voice for effect. And she says, "What do you want for Christmas?" I said, "I tell you what." I said, "I want to get a PlayStation 3, and I can get one for $100. So if you can just give me $100, there you go." She's like, "Okay." So she gave me $100. I backfilled my own account with the $100 and got the free PlayStation. And it was awesome. I got that PlayStation for free. And then a Wii came along, and I was like, you know what? I can do the same thing, but I didn't have enough, money to go around, and I've already burned a lot through all these boards to get people to sign up for things. There was no real way I was going to get anybody else to sign up for those things. So I turned to a new idea. At that time, I was doing banking with an institution that is no longer in business. They were absorbed by another bank, and turned into a different bank, or became part of that bank, depending on whether or not there was another. It's like if there was already another bank for that name in that area, the absorbed bank went out of business or got sold to somebody else. Otherwise, if there wasn't anybody, they became that location. They had the system for their credit card, or I'm sorry, their bank accounts, that you got rewards for making qualified purchases or qualified transactions. Go to the store, buy your groceries, you get so many points per dollars. Go to the gas station, buy gas, you get so many points per dollars. Go to, and here was the best one. You do a transaction over PayPal, meaning you send money to a PayPal account, they gave you 10 points. And you got 10 of those transactions per month. So on top of everything else, I figured out a way to, and go with me on this. So the rewards for doing these transactions and doing these points, these purchases, was that you could trade them in for gift cards, like to Best Buy, or to, like I said, Visa, or any of these other retailers. Kind of like what we're doing today with, good customer feedback on our tickets or whatever. So I had figured out that I set up a revolving transaction 10 times a month to send $1. I sent $1 from my bank account to PayPal. And then I would do another transaction to send $1 from PayPal back to my bank account. Actually, no. Let me take that back. Doesn't really matter, but I would send 10 transactions to send $1 each transaction from my bank account to PayPal. And then I would do one transaction for $10 back to my bank account from PayPal. So, in essence, I got 100 points each month from just doing that. And I set that up as an automated transaction. I didn't have to do anything with it. It did it on its own. 10 transactions for $1 each, and then one transaction for $10 back. So, in a year, I would get 1,200 points. The Wii, through getting, the cost of the Wii through gift cards was going to be 40,000 points. Yes. 1,200 points a month. 1,200 points a year into 40,000. I'm not that crazy. I am crazy, but I'm not that crazy. I had already been doing all these things now for a couple of years with that and never cashed in the points that I had before the scheme ever took shape in my head. I had like 25,000 points already because I had used that checking account for various purchases over the years, never minding that I had points built up. Once I realized I was more than halfway there, I figured, okay, I'll just keep on going, and then added in these other things. So eventually, after about a year, 6 months to a year, I think, of doing all this, I managed to have 40,000 points, cash them in for the $100 gift cards from Best Buy, and then went and got my Wii for free. Okay? So you see what I'm going to do here. To go back to the other story, I'm going to sit and bust my ass for the next year and a half or whatever to get myself those award points from our work, and then I'm going to turn those into gift cards to get the PlayStation 5. Seems like such a silly waste of resources, doesn't it? But then here's why I also feel that it's a silly waste of resources. Not because it's my, but I'm doing something good. I'm benefiting. I'm not pulling a scheme. I'm just working my ass off and getting rewarded for it. Fine, whatever. Kids today have no clue what it was like for kids then, when I was that age, playing video games. And I've had this discussion. Like I said, I told you the first story to tell you the second story. I'm telling you the second story to tell you the third story. When I was that age, and the biggest thing we had out there was not even the Nintendo, it was an Atari 2600, and maybe gaming on an IBM clone or an Apple II or something like that. Games lasted maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You played Pitfall, and had a 20-minute time limit. Whether you won or not, you were done anywhere up to 20 minutes, because that's how long the game would last. We played one game, we played a second game, We maybe had to switch to a third type of title, either put a different cartridge in, or we went outside. We got boring and repetitive. Go and play like, Beachhead or Raid Over Moscow or 10-Yard Fight or something else like that, whatever on our computers or Apple IIs or whatever, and we would play for like 20 minutes and we were done. But at that time, we could, even though we couldn't save games on an Atari, we could save games on an Apple, or even like an IBM clone or something like that. And then when the Nintendo came out, they didn't even have saves. They had those codes that you typed in, which was like a hexadecimal code that created you a spot in the game world, added things to your inventory, added a score, added lives, added something like that, and that's how that was technically considered a save. But again, games like Zelda and all the other stuff, we didn't have to play them all in one shot. We could come back to them. And still, the biggest thing we had to worry about was the game not starting up, and therefore we had to blow on the back of the cartridge and put it back in. Flash forward to when the PlayStation 3 and 4 came out, and Xbox Live, and other games that had a online aspect to them. Suddenly, gaming became a different experience. It wasn't done in like 5 to 10 minutes. It was like an hour. It was like 2 hours. An entire game took longer than, the time it took me to get that stupid Wii or that PlayStation 3. The vast richness of the game worlds themselves have exploded to hours upon hours of gameplay. It's not something that is either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Moderation. Now, we can have that conversation about, should kids be on the screens that long, or should they go outside and play, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. If you are going to let kids play video games at a certain age, and those games can last up until a certain amount of time, and then you add in the online aspect where it's like, okay, fine, if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and I'm in a solo mission, I can pause the game, walk away, and the game will still be there. In fact, that's how I broke my first PlayStation 3, the laser, and there's a reason why, for leaving the game on and just in pause, because it always took so damn long to start the game. I got hit with the dreaded, first thing I did was when I got that PlayStation 3 and Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, I put it in and I got hit with that dreaded stupid bug that borked it, that actually bricked it, and I had to send it away to get it fixed. Now, I didn't have a lot of time as an adult. I was a father at that point. Bailey was in kinder care at that point, and I would have to go pick her up and bring her home. And, her mother was working at the time, so I would be on daddy duty for, half an hour to an hour before she would be home. And sometimes I could get her down for a nap, sometimes I couldn't. She would just sit and play with her stuff while I would sit there and play Grand Theft Auto 4. She had no clue what was going on. I had the sound turned down, everything was fine. That was before she started watching me play. But a lot of times I would get up in the mornings on a Saturday, and I would get up at like 7. And I knew I could sneak downstairs before everybody else was up and turn on and start playing games like Mercenaries or something like that. But the problem is that I would have to wait. I would have to wait 20 to 30 minutes for the updates to load into the game so that I could actually play. It wasn't a great scenario. We didn't have to wait for Pitfall. We didn't have to wait for those games. You turn it on, you play, and you were done. It takes longer to get the updates installed than it is to play a round of Pitfall. So, that on top of the time it takes to play any game, if you're playing an online mission in Grand Theft Auto, 20 minutes is barely going to cut it. Those heists take a lot of setup and time to do. And again, that conversation can happen about how long should kids be playing video games. Now, granted, kids should be playing Grand Theft Auto 5. I get that. But just in general, how long it takes to do some of these things and cooperation with other people, it can take longer than you really allotted your kids to have time to play with. And us as adults, we don't have time, not because we're being forced to say you have to limit how much time you're on a screen. No, you've got to go do adult things and you don't have time. So now I'm torn with the idea of, okay, fine, I can go and work my ass off, get those award points, spend it on getting a PS5, and then never be able to play it because I don't have time, or I get something else. And I'm torn because, as Megan even said, no, you worked for it. You don't buy anything for yourself. You get it. You go get it. You go buy yourself the game, or, the system if you want. That's your money. You go do it. And it's like, wow, what a wife, which she is. But at the same time, I know what my responsibilities lie. I should take that money, cash it out, and use it to pay down some debt or whatever, or use it to buy other things so I can use the money in my account to pay off the debt. And therein lies the entire problem of being an adult and why it sucks. And that's what this entire story is about, why adulting sucks. That's all we got for tonight. Hey, I want to thank you for listening in. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please do me a favor, subscribe, like the videos, and if you want to hear some life lessons about anything, buy me a coffee, and the more coffee I get, the more wound up I am, and more likely I am to produce these types of videos. Till then, take care of yourselves, take care of the planet, take care of each other. We'll talk to you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.